Welcome to an episode of Founder in the Chair. Today my guest is a biochemist with extensive experience in the pharmaceutical industry, where her work was centred around drug safety of pharmaceuticals. One day she realised that drugs only masked symptoms without addressing root causes. So she decided to transition from pharmaceuticals to natural product formation. Today she is dedicated to creating innovative, science-backed natural solutions for those with hair and scalp concerns, aiming to treat root causes and restore natural beauty. So I'd love to welcome Karishma Matani. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Very good and very excited to be here.
Thank you. So tell us, I know you decided that you wanted to find the natural way to do things. What was that experience like to bring roots and ritual to life?
I think it sort of stems back to when I was just 15 years old. I developed TB at that age. Okay. Someone in my classroom had TB and I was the only one who was also infected.
Okay.
So obviously at that time I had to go towards conventional medicine because, considering the severity of the condition, I couldn't experiment with anything else. I was only 15. I wasn't kind of mature enough to make my decision. So obviously I was put on 6 months of antibiotics. And I think at that age, I wasn't sort of aware enough of my body and my changes, but I did experience quite a lot of hair loss, skin changes, and, the dermatologist kept saying it's probably puberty, but actually looking back on it, it was really the medications I was on, very harsh antibiotics, like 4 different ones for a 6-month period, which I think actually impacted my gut health and led to a host of other health problems. And then my TB reoccurred again, actually, when I was 26. And this time I had a prolonged hospital stay. Right. So again, I had to be on antibiotics and lots of other medications. And then I realized, actually, this is again causing a host of other issues. And that's when I turned to nature, because I realized with pharmaceuticals, we're just masking symptoms. We're not treating the root cause. So that's what sort of made me closer to nature and made me want to explore natural solutions to treat my imbalances.
So you had studied all of this?
Yes, actually, I think that helped as well.
Okay.
So I have a degree in biochemistry. So obviously, having that knowledge and that understanding helps. I also worked in the pharmaceutical industry, in drug safety. So I was looking at all the side effects of drugs. So I think all of that made me realize that going down this route where we're just suppressing symptoms is not really the answer. It's about understanding the root cause, turning to nature, ways to reduce stress. And really, I think nature definitely has an answer. So it's just about educating yourself and really doing your research and understanding the best way that nature can help you.
So you were 26 when it happened again.
Yes.
So at that time, you went on antibiotics again?
Yeah, exactly.
For 6 months again?
Exactly 6 months, yeah.
And then after that, what did you do then?
So after that, I realized, oh my God, everything's changing and my skin was bad, my hair was thinning. So I just completely changed my diet. That really helped. I worked closely with a functional medical practitioner who gave me advice on the right supplements to take because it's such an oversaturated market. You can go into a health shop and pick up a variety of things, but are those supplements right for you? Is it suited to your body? So it's just working with the right experts to really understand what the imbalances are. Why is it that TB occurred twice? What are the deficiencies? And once you address that, then things start falling into place. And I found that with my experience, that when I kind of dealt with the imbalances at the root cause, I quickly noticed my health coming back to how it used to be.
So why did you get TB twice? Was there an imbalance of some sort that you then
they
realised?
said, obviously I didn't realize at the time, but they said that my gut wasn't absorbing all those nutrients. And when I was 15, I grew up in Spain. We went to very reputable consultants and dermatologists, and they did the basic blood tests as well. And they couldn't really spot anything on those blood tests other than slightly low ferritin levels, which I had addressed with supplements. But when I was working with a functional medical practitioner, that's when I truly understood what was going on with my gut health. And I think addressing my gut health has made a huge difference. So, yeah.
I think people underestimate gut health.
They do, exactly, because that's how you absorb all the nutrients, right?
Yeah.
And that can change things physiologically in so many different ways. It's connected to the brain as well. So I felt I was more focused, more alert, just happier in general. So, yeah.
So is that the moment where Roots and Ritual was birthed?
I think that really sort of highlights some of the brand values. And that's why we offer that 360 approach. We don't believe that just using one topical product is going to sort of change everything. We believe that you need to be aware of your body. You need to be aware of your imbalances. You need to understand that things like hormones, stress, pregnancy, all of those things can impact hair and hair loss. So it's just about increasing your knowledge, working with the right people to treat both the inside and the outside.
And do your products work for men as well?
Yes, our growth serum is formulated for those who have androgenic alopecia and for those experiencing increased DHT levels on the scalp. So yes, that particular product
Explain
works.
what that was.
So basically, just to sort of summarize, hair loss can happen for a variety of different reasons. It's multifactorial. So it's not like one cause. It's so many different causes. And what we have found is that, for example, for females, having postpartum hair loss is that change in estrogen levels.
Yes.
There's a huge change in estrogen levels after pregnancy.
Or menopause.
Exactly. So perimenopause, menopause. So that low estrogen level after pregnancy or at perimenopause or menopause can make your hair feel thinner. You experience hair loss. But when you have androgenic alopecia, that's quite different. That's not really to do with estrogen levels, but with DHT levels on the scalp. So DHT levels are too high on the scalp, and that's when you...
What are DHT levels?
So it's dihydrotestosterone. So it's the level of DHT that triggers the hair follicle to get thinner and thinner. So that's what men tend to experience when they have hair loss. And that's why they have more localized hair loss in the center of the scalp, because it's those DHT levels that are very high. And so all the topical products like minoxidil and finasteride, they work primarily by reducing those DHT levels. And so a lot of people who have postpartum hair loss and they start using the conventional drugs, it doesn't work that well because the mechanism of action is different. So you need to understand why you're experiencing hair loss. Like, what stage of life are you at? Are you 25 and you're noticing hair loss in the center of your scalp? That could mean it's more genetic.
Right.
It's caused by androgens, by DHT. And so your treatment would be different to someone having postpartum hair loss or someone going through perimenopause.
Right.
Or you go to your doctor and you realize there's a problem with your thyroid. So just so many different factors. It could also be stress. So the way you treat hair loss depends on the cause of hair loss, basically.
And then you have different products for different types of
Yes,
symptoms.
So that's why we have 3 different products. I mean, we're looking to launch one more, which is for postpartum hair loss and for menopause and perimenopause. That's not to say that the growth serum doesn't work for that population, but we just prefer to have a targeted approach. So the growth serum is very much for strengthening hair, for thickening hair, and also to reduce DHT levels. So for those having the more kind of stubborn hair loss, the ones that are kind of more influenced by genetics and not so much by the environment. So that's our growth serum. Then we have the scalp oil. The scalp oil is quite good for perimenopause, menopause, and postpartum hair loss because it helps a little bit with those estrogen levels on the scalp. And we have a deep conditioning oil, but that's just for general use. So it's a very sort of simple formulation to keep your hair strong and healthy. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of products, Karishma.
Yeah.
So your journey as a founder, When you first thought of this idea, were you scared?
I think I was scared, nervous. I'm not sure if I should go down this route. I think you have to be quite brave.
Yeah.
But I was very entrepreneurial. You know, I grew up in a family where everyone is in business, and I just knew no other way, to be honest. So yeah, I was scared. I was nervous, but when looking back on it, I think like it was worth it. Like it's worth the journey. Is so exciting. You learn so much. You meet so many people. So I think it's been an exceptional journey. You need to be very persistent, brave, and committed, basically.
When did you start the business?
So I started in 2017.
Okay,
So yeah,
it's been running a while.
It's been a while, yes.
Yeah.
So it's been sort of just run by me, and I have a few other team members. But I think juggling family and being a founder can sometimes be difficult. But I've had a very supportive family, you know, who've always encouraged me. So that really helps. And being around like-minded people like you.
Oh, absolutely. That's a game changer. So when you decided, right, I'm going to make my products and launch it, how did you, so if someone's listening right now and they've got a product idea, how do you bring it to market? Like, what did you have to do to make it come to life?
Yeah, so you need to deeply understand your target audience. You need to put yourself in their shoes. You need to sort of understand their thought process. What are they experiencing? What products have they tried and not sort of had any success with, and why? You know, why haven't they got success with, you know, minoxidil or finasteride, which has so much clinical data to prove its efficacy? So it's just about dissecting the information you have and knowing what your target audience needs and tailoring the treatments or the products to them. And that's why it's very difficult for me as a biochemist, formulation chemist, to create one product that meets everyone's needs. I think that is really ambitious. And, you know, that's why we need 3 or 4 products that target different stages or different types of hair loss. But, you know, going back to your question, is like deeply understanding the target audience, understanding what their needs are, what their concerns are, their difficulties. And then it's about balancing nature and science, because you need to use ingredients that are scientifically backed by clinical data.
Yeah, so that was your business. But if someone had, I don't know, candles or handbags, like literally anything, like I know you said, it sounds like you did a bit of market research to see what do people need. What else did you do? So obviously it's nerve-wracking. You're about to start a new business. Is it going to sell? Is it not going to sell? Packaging, you know, logos, colours. How did you decide all of that?
Yes, I work with a brand strategist as well. So obviously understanding your target audience, working on the branding, understanding your vision. I think knowing the vision is really important. Who are you targeting? What are your products all about? What problems are you trying to resolve in the world? So I was working with a brand strategist, and sort of, you know, we were working on things like packaging and logo and things like that. So obviously having the right experts on board is key. So research, having the right experts, promoting the brand, that's something I found quite challenging because it just doesn't come naturally to me. Sort of networking, connecting with the right people. I think you need to step out of your comfort zone and do things that sometimes you may not like doing, but it's for the benefit of the growth of your brand. And I think as a founder, you wear multiple hats and you're not going to like every task, but sometimes you just have to do it. So yes, just have the right people in your team, network, connect with the right individuals and have a vision. But equally, I have to say, you need to be adaptable because the beauty industry is ever evolving, is changing, and sometimes you need to readapt so that, you know, your vision aligns with your target audience.
So I noticed when I go on social media, you do quite a lot of advertising as well. Like,
just recently started
does that
with
work
the
for you?
Well, to be honest, you need to look at the data. So some ads work, some of them are not working, and so we have to kind of look at the evidence and sort of decide, okay, this one we need to sort of stop and work on this one instead, and promote this ad more than the other. But I think creating good ads is like it's an art in itself. You need to sort of know what you're doing, work with the right people. So I'm not rushing into it and investing too much into ads, but I'm sort of working on both sides. So we have our existing customers. A lot of them are brand ambassadors. There's a lot of word of mouth. There's that organic growth, which I think is equally important. Like, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, right? And just investing in Facebook ads or, sort of Google ads is not our strategy. It's part of our strategy, but it's not the only way we grow. And I think you don't need to rush the process. I think it's about, go through the journey, look at the data, see what's working, reevaluate, and then, you move on, basically. Yeah.
So do you actually like go in a lab and formulate your products?
That's what I like.
That's what you do,
That's what
isn't
makes
it?
me happy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like, you need to create an ad or a viral kind of video, and that's where I need to sort of learn more. I need to kind of understand that space a bit better. And I think as a founder or as an individual, we are all at different stages in our life. We all have to learn things that, will help our businesses flourish. So I think that's something that I'm still learning and exploring. But yes, like you said, I love going into a lab and testing out different ingredients. That's really my expertise.
So do you formulate everything for your
I work
brand?
with other chemists as well too, because I think we need 2 or 3 different experts when launching a product.
Yeah.
So I'll have the initial idea, but I'll run it past highly experienced and qualified chemists as well, so that they can look at it with a different eye. Because I'm very passionate about my brand, about my product, but you need another pair of eyes, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned about getting on video and it might not be comfortable.
Yeah.
Have you started doing it now?
I have started doing it, and it's so hard because I keep looking back and thinking, no, this could be better, that could be better. But I've realized you just need to take action, Many times, you go to all these events where you're learning to do things, but you don't actually execute in the end. And I think this year I've really tried to take action, to execute, to think outside the box, and really trying to see if I can build a personal brand as well, because I'd like for people to see what goes on behind the scenes,
Like a day in the life of Karishma, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
and it's true, people love it. If you say, well, I'm a mum and I do this as well, and I run a business, and I'm at the supermarket, or here's me like going on holiday. People people resonate more with your brand then.
Yeah, and I also do offer sometimes consultancy as well. So if brands are starting their own beauty brand, then they'll come to me and say, look, Karishma, could you help us launch this product? Could you look at our labeling? What do you think about this? Like, they'd be experts at packaging or launching a product, and they'll have the funds available to scale. But then they come to me to look at the science and see if this will be a good product.
Okay.
Does it absorb well? things like that. So
there's a lot of companies like they'll say, oh, we'll pick up a white label product and we'll brand it ourselves. So if someone came to you and said, this is what we're thinking of doing, what would you say to them then?
That's a really, really good question, because I personally don't white label any of my products. And I think I have an unfair advantage because obviously I don't need to outsource the formulation and product development. And I think I need to be fair and say that I respect their choice, because they might not have the funds available to invest in research and development and to launch a product from scratch. I always advise to, if it's possible and if the budget permits, have a bespoke formulation. Like, there's nothing, I think it's quite disappointing when you see the same ingredient list on another product, So if you can be unique in a very competitive industry, then please do it. So some clients have said, no, we just don't have that kind of budget. We can only invest in marketing. And to be honest, some of them are doing really well because they put all their money in promoting and marketing. And then the product's like done, easy, Whereas for someone like me, I'm like getting ingredients from Switzerland, India, Germany. It becomes like a very, very difficult task.
Wow.
So I understand why people go private label, and I respect their choice because they probably have a variety of different reasons. So, yeah.
So if like you said, you would consult. So if somebody did come to you with
Yeah.
white label, you can still consult for them.
Exactly. So that, they'd say to me, look, Karishma, I want some magnesium flakes, but I don't want to invest in building my own product. Could you help me source it from suppliers? And yes, absolutely, I can help because there are different private label suppliers. Some of them have very good products, actually.
Yeah.
And, it's all about the branding and the packaging, and client is happy doing just that aspect of launching a product. So it's just sometimes about finding the right private label supplier. And I've worked on a variety of projects like that.
So is this something new you've just started, the consulting side of it?
Yeah, it's fairly new. It's always been at the back of my mind because I thought, someone said to me, you're going to distract yourself from your direct-to-consumer e-commerce business. But I said, look, I have a skill set, and I'm not really diverting too much from what I do on a day-to-day basis. And if I can help other brands launch the right products within the budget that they have, then I think that's a good thing, and I'm helping
absolutely.
them.
Yeah, because I didn't know you do that. So that's brilliant. So like you said earlier, like you want to brand yourself now.
I would love to do that.
That's what comes into it now then, isn't it? Like, yes, I have my own brand, but I can help you.
Yes,
as well.
Exactly. I would love to help small brands bring their vision and their ideas to life, basically. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to enter the beauty industry with lessons that you've learned along the way?
Yeah. So for me, it's really about deep research. Perhaps I didn't start with deep research as first, but as my brand evolved, I started to realize actually, we need to have, different products for different stages of hair loss or different types of hair loss. So deep research is important. Partnering with the right suppliers, because you can find Brahmi or Bringraj or Amla from so many different online suppliers. But how good are those ingredients? Are they backed by clinical data and peer-reviewed studies? Is there efficacy data? Because you could be spending a lot of money on ingredients that don't work. So finding and partnering with the right suppliers is key. And networking, connecting with other people. I think that's something that doesn't come to me very naturally. But looking back on it, I think I should have done more of it so that people know what I do, understand my expertise. Like, there's no point me being locked up in a lab when people just don't know anything about me. It's just about going to networking events and connecting with like-minded people, surrounding yourself with positive, energetic individuals who believe in your vision. And I think those things are key. Staying persistent, I think that is very important because you go through phases in business, right? Ups and downs. And you might have a day when you feel like giving up, but you need to keep moving forward. So being persistent, being patient, because even product development in the sort of natural sector takes a lot of time. You need to make a lot of changes to get it right. So patience and persistence is probably a key attribute to success.
So when you have days when you don't feel like doing anything, or like, family life gets in the way or whatever, how does Karishma motivate herself to keep going?
Well, I love to meditate.
Okay.
So that helps. I take time out for myself. So I always, just, regardless of the circumstances, I take time for long walks, connecting with nature. That helps me rebalance myself. A little bit of meditation as well. As long as it's done daily, it really works to keep me happy and balanced. And just, spending time with my community, with my friends, it is very uplifting. Like, I realize that as I get older, that surrounding yourself with the right people is really important.
Yeah,
So,
the energy from
exactly.
other people.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any other hot tips that you would like to share?
Just keep a positive mindset. Always be happy. And like I said, just surround yourself with happy, positive, like-minded people.
So would you say your circle of people since starting a business changed?
Yeah,
it did.
Has, yeah.
Are
Definitely.
they more entrepreneurs? Or?
Yeah, a mix. Like, even if they're not entrepreneurs, they understand you.
Yeah.
They might have family members who are, so they get it, they support you. Some don't, some do. But I think I have an affinity towards certain people, and I kind of surround myself with those people who have that right energy, and that really helps me move forward.
Did you find setting up a business that some people just sort of moved away from your life?
Not moved away, but they didn't sort of support me in the way that I thought they would. I just felt like, they just kind of didn't understand. They thought I was really odd, that I'm just sort of starting a business, and they just didn't understand why I wasn't in the typical 9 to 5. So I used to have friends in the 9 to 5 sort of corporate world. And when I started talking about business, I just thought I was like an alien, So I kind of drifted away naturally from those people.
Yeah.
But I found another circle that kept me happy, that kept my energy flowing in the right direction. So in life, things change and you just need to readapt.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you don't mind looking at that camera and just saying how to find your business.
Yes, so you can find our hair care products on www.rootsandritualsbeauty.com, and you can also email us on info@rootsandrituals.co.uk.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Founder in the Chair. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share and like from wherever you are listening or watching.